Okay, that was a rush and a half, wasn't it? Okay, I have some big stuff to talk about. Don't worry, I'm gonna be getting to it in a second, but I do need to get to my low, my high, my act of kindness like I always do. So, my low yesterday was we just, after, we went to a church. Actually, we wound up going to 5 o'clock in Penyan, actually. But like everywhere we tried going to was either closed or needed reservations. But eventually we ended up going to the Swiss. But sadly, the wait staff was kind of on the, they were busy. So it was a bit of a wait. But it was fine. It eventually, got to be pretty, eventually we got our food. It was well and good. And I was really worried because we were taking so long. I thought I was going to miss last night's episode of Amphibia, which I will be getting into momentarily. So, my high yesterday was just spending the day with my family, out in the boat, having a good time. We went on my father's boat, and, I'm just like relaxed. It was just a wonderful time. Plus, I got to see my nephews yesterday, which is always very nice. And my act of kindness yesterday was the instant I got here, I immediately started, cleaning the place up for, my mom. I mean, yeah, my mom is going to do some cleaning up here herself, but, it always helps. It doesn't hurt to, help out your mom. So, yes, it finally happened. Good morning, happy Sunday, everybody. We finally got to see Marcy again. Oh, actually, for the first time in the series, that's not the intro. We've seen Marcy. But yes, it was. Oh, I should probably explain this. See, in all of the promotional material for Amphibia Season 2, that was like the number one thing everyone was asking. Like, where is Marcy? Because we didn't see her at all technically we did see her in the finale of Season 1, but that was flashback. So, this was the very first introduction we have of Marcy in the series. And, it was like all of the promotional material, they're all talking about it, like, wow, what's Marcy going to do? Is she going to be, like, what kind of personality is she going to have? Is she going to be, friend or foe? We don't know. I made that rhyme. But, yes. So, all of these questions were being asked so much throughout the build-up to Season 2. And last night, we got it with the episode Marcy at the Gates. Kind of on the nose as to who you're going to reveal now, aren't you? It was worth it though. Don't worry. So, the episode starts out with Anne, Sprig and Hop Pop. They're close in Utopia, and then Anne and Sprig are talking in the flagon, and actually before I begin, I gotta say I was actually kind of wrong. I actually thought this was going to be like the mid-season finale of Season 1. And the season finale of Season 1, where, like, they didn't do the opening intro. They just did the title screen, and then, boom, we start the episode. But no, they did the opening intro here. Okay. I guess they're probably saving that for something later on down the line. Who knows? Anyway, so, Sprig and Anne are in the flagon. I know it sounds so stupid to say it, but I like saying it anyway. So they're in the flagon, they're talking, and Anne is a little, worried because, aside from finding a way home, she really wants to see Marcy again because, Marcy was never seen or heard from since the beginning of the series. Now, it did fill Anne with hope that when she saw Sasha, maybe Marcy's at Amphibia too, but we don't know where. So, it's then we're immediately cut to a flashback of what sort of personality and, Marcy was like. And it turns out Marcy is a really cool, really fun sort of gamer girl who sadly is a little bit on the both clumsy and oblivious side. Which, come to think of it, it kind of does make a lot of sense for the dynamic that Anne, Sasha, and Marcy do present in the series. Because it's very clear that Sasha was kind of like the ringleader, and both Anne and Marcy were both, in their own way, kind of like, I guess, second bananas, if you want to call them that, I guess. I can't think of a better analogy. But Marcy was, but because of how clumsy and oblivious Marcy is, Anne had to be the one to sort of vouch and, protect her. So that's why she was really, really worried. But then they get to Newtopia, and it turns out the gates are locked. Turns out that there's some barbarians in the midst. And it turns out that the barbarians are giant ants. And at first, the planter family and Anne are able to fight off some of the ants. But, they're sort of getting outnumbered. But then a mysterious figure appears. And this figure throws sort of smoke bombs that drives the ants away. And then she uses a crossbow, to which Polly immediately says, Hop Hop, I want a crossbow for my birthday. Make it happen. So that was awesome. So this mysterious figure who's wearing a cloak slides down the rope that the crossbow sort of made, when you fire the arrow. And it falls when she's almost down to the ground. And then Anne immediately was able to recognize that it was Marcy. And I gotta say, emotions started welling up for me. It was a very beautiful moment to see. It really, really was. And throughout the course of this episode, you get to learn a little bit more about Marcy. Again, she's a gamer girl who is, into video games, sort of bored, really any kind of games, really. And they actually do a spoof of, she talks about the greatest JRPG of all time, which I forget the name of what she said, but if you saw the cover art for that JRPG she mentioned, it was clearly supposed to be a spoof of Chrono Trigger, I think. Which, I never played Chrono Trigger, but I did watch Chuggaaconroy's Let's Play on that, and yeah, it's pretty darn awesome. I gotta give it that. So, hey, if you're gonna spoof anything, spoof it the best. I don't know. Anyway, so it turns out that Marcy is a ranger who is, it was helping the people in Newtopia try and fend off the barbarians, or the ants, if you will. I tried to get air quotes there. So, they're coming up with strategies, and it turns out that they have a plan to use what are called stink shrooms, which explode, emit a horrible odor, and, will drive the ants away permanently, I think is what it's supposed to do. But throughout the course of the episode, Marcy is showing signs of how, Marcy is kind of oblivious, kind of is clumsy. I mean, there are times her cape caught on fire and there wasn't even a fire around. That's how funny they want to play that joke, which is cool. I like that. So throughout all though, Sprig is actually really worried because last time they found a human, a.k.a. Sasha, it really didn't go so well. So Sprig is kind of on the fence. Is what if Marcy's like that too? Now, obviously, Hop Hop and Polly don't really buy what Sprig is thinking, but, it does make for some good drama, which I like. So, throughout the course of the episode, Marcy does show signs of her being clumsy and, sort of oblivious, but she's definitely more mature and definitely has grown in her own way, which is really nice. And throughout it, Anne is still constantly worried about, having to worry about, having to worry about, how Marcy's doing. So, eventually it gets to the point where, Sprig actually gets captured twice, and they were both hilarious. Well, the first one was hilarious. The second one was meant for moving the story along. See, the first one is one of the ants captures Sprig when they're in the cave, and then Sprig somehow, just out of nowhere pops up. He's like, wow, Sprig, you got free. It's like, I know, I kicked it. That was awesome. So, Sprig actually gets captured by the queen ant herself. And my cape is starting to fall off. And so, Marcy wants to go and save Sprig, but Anne's like, no, I don't want you to do it. But then it becomes a really great character moment for both characters. Because Marcy wants to prove that, even though she does have some of that same personality, she's grown. She's gotten better. And Anne uses this as an opportunity to accept the fact that, you got to move on and let people grow and develop on their own. And in that regard, you can do the same thing. So it was actually a really good episode that way. But without question, the most memorable part of the episode, and the one thing everybody's going to be talking about, well, technically there are two things. The first is when Marcy He went to save Sprig. Now, when I said Sprig was captured, he was actually eaten by the queen. So naturally, Sprig had to. But luckily, it's apparently like slow digesting or something. So Marcy literally goes in there, saves Sprig, like punches her way out in like a blaze of glory. Sprig looks up and you get a look at Marcy's face. And just like Anne, Marcy's eyes glowed. But in this case, they were green. So, needless to say, well, it's a big moment because if you watch the intro to Amphibia, you see Anne opening up the Calamity box, and you see these 3 jewels on there. One's blue, one's green, and one's red or pink or something. But it's meant to be like those 3 like primary colors of light that you have to do with like physics or something. I don't know, but that's what I noticed. Anyway, so so Marcy's eyes actually glowed green, and then Sprig's like, trustworthy. That was awesome. So yes, eventually they use the stink shrooms, drive the ants away, or ants are barbarians. You can just use them interchangeably here. And so Newtopia opens back up again, and they're welcomed by the planners are welcomed by good people, which this one lady was like not having any of Sprig's antics. It was amazing. And Newt lady, yeah, they're Newts. Anyway, and the ending of the episode, which is the other thing people are going to be talking about, is you see a shadowy figure in like a dark room, who was voiced by Keith David, a.k.a. the main character from Gargoyles. He was also the Shadow Man on A Princess and the Frog. So actually, he's done a lot for Disney over the years, and he's been a lot in great movies too. But yeah, that was Keith David at the end. And he said, "The final piece is here," and it's like a little stick figure of Anne, and he puts that stick figure of Anne like right next to Marcy, and like, now the games are all set or something. Basically, it's a way of saying shady guy, saying all the pieces are into place. It is building up hype. I cannot wait to see what happens next. Man, this episode was worth it. So, actually, before I forget, I should say this last part too. Before you see the shadowy figure, Anne and Marcy have a heart-to-heart. So, for one thing, it's pretty obvious Marcy's not evil, at least as far as we know. And so now, Anne had to talk about how she and Sasha had, a fight. There were swords and explosions involved. She really said that too. It was funny. So, it's now clear that both Anne and Marcy have 2 objectives. Find Sasha, sort of snap her out of it, figure that, 2 heads are better than 1 in that regard, and find a way home. Simple as that. So we'll just have to wait and see what the rest of what this season brings. But for now, it looks like we're going to be staying in Newtopia for a little while, which I'm really excited for. I can't wait to see what happens next. So yeah, this is a really great episode. Like, don't get me wrong, all the other episodes are pretty good too. But like, this is what build up leads to in a good way, and that's really awesome. So yeah, all in all, it was a pretty good day yesterday. So, in terms of what was I thinking? Alright, in terms of what happened last night for dinner, we ended up going to the Switz, which is fine. It's still among Cuca Lake's best. I'm not complaining. And my mother got the Cuca burger. My father got the Switz burger, and they didn't have a prime rib as their special because they sold out. But luckily, I actually have a go-to at the Switz. I actually have several go-tos at the Switz, but honestly, I was feeling this one, and that's their open-faced prime rib sandwich. And you're probably wondering, Nick, if they ever saw the prime rib, how do they sell the open-faced prime rib sandwich? I don't know. I don't question that logic. All I know is that it was really good. And if you go to the Switz and you order the open-faced prime rib sandwich, you got to get it with the sauteed mushrooms and onions and bacon. You got to do that. It's amazing. I had mine with onion rings and some French onion soup. Yeah, it was actually really good. And don't mind my father, who's using the leaf blower. So, with that regard, I'm really excited for, the next episode. I don't know if there's an episode next week. I gotta see. But this is definitely worth all the hype. I can't wait to see what happens next. And I'll do one of these. Alrighty then. So, like, favorite, share, the subscribe button, follow me, so leave plans, I'm very humble about this video. For all you guys are watching, for them, will be a wonderful, wonderful Sunday. Remember, if you guys want to talk or chat with me, I'll be back. Take care and make good choices. And by the way, I just didn't really feel like, I already jumped in, so I don't really need to do it again. Plus, I'm kind of getting tired holding this phone. One more time, though. And my cape fell off.